We're kicking off with tonight's AEW Dynamite as backstage footage from AEW All In will be aired, which is expected to feature the altercation between Jack Perry and CM Punk in London. The decision to air the footage has faced criticisms, with some calling it a ratings ploy, while others have said AEW is trying to get payback on Punk following his comments on the MMA Hour show. Speaking with Sports Illustrated, Tony Khan addressed the decision to air the footage and made clear that this will not be a bait and switch by the Young Bucks. Khan added that releasing the footage is being done simply to give the fans the best show they can, adding that All In was a historic show and was an important night backstage as well. Once again, AEW's backstage issues are taking center stage as Khan looks to capitalize on the backstage fight, even though an argument could be made that AEW should be trying to move on. Khan has given his reasons for why the footage is being aired, but on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said the idea behind this is simply to embarrass CM Punk. The Young Bucks, who have had issues with Punk, will be narrating in this segment, and it'll be odd if the footage does make fans sympathetic to Jack Perry, who is supposed to be a heel. Perry has branded himself a scapegoat as of late, and it's been reported that while he remains under an AEW contract, Tony Khan is still mad at him for essentially costing AEW CM Punk. Punk is now with WWE and has been doing very well in the company so far, and those in WWE are far from impressed with what's planned for the show. Sources in WWE told Ringside News that the decision to air the footage is being seen as misguided and stupid, regardless of what Punk said on Ariel Helwani's podcast. Fans want to see the footage, arguably more than they want to see any AEW matches on the show. We'll have to see if the footage in question delivers on tonight's Dynamite. As we reported yesterday, Seth Rollins is set to take time off from WWE following his World Heavyweight Championship loss at WrestleMania 40. Rollins was seen limping to the back after Cody Rhodes' big win on the Sunday show, and now more has come to light about the condition of the ex-champion. A source for Ringside News said that Rollins' limp was part of the storyline, as he had taken quite the beating across both nights of WrestleMania, but that doesn't mean he isn't hurt. While the limp was for storytelling, Rollins is legitimately beat up, and it's been reported that he requested the time off so that he could heal up following a very busy run as champion. Rollins was a fighting champion, but that led to him accumulating injuries and issues, and now it's in his best interest to step away and let his body recover. At WrestleMania 40, Damian Priest finally cashed in his Money in the Bank contract to become World Heavyweight Champion, and the new champion is here to stay. Speaking after this week's Raw, Priest discussed his future in WWE and revealed that he has signed a new long-term deal with the company that'll keep him around. While the specific terms of the deal were not disclosed, Priest emphasized that this year has already been as in addition to his title and contract, he has a new theme which debuted on Raw. As for how Priest's title reign will go, that remains to be seen, but don't expect the reigning World Heavyweight Champion in any other company anytime soon. Damian Priest will certainly have the spotlight on him as the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but he's also looking to establish himself outside of the squared circle. According to Joel Otterson at Variety, the Archer of Infamy has inked a new deal with talent agency Paradigm, which seeks to expand his portfolio across multiple forms of media. Books, acting, marketing, and unscripted projects are among the possibilities listed, and perhaps Priest will look at music as his new theme song features himself as the vocalist. Priest joins The Rock, John Cena, and Bianca Belair as wrestlers signed to talent agencies, and if their success is an indicator, expect big things in the future of the world champion. Over to NXT now as Roxanne Perez was riding high as she appeared on the show, fresh off her NXT Women's title win at Stand and Deliver and her victory on Raw. Though the fans chanted, "You deserve it," the new champ wasn't impressed and added that she didn't need anything from the fans before mocking Lyra Valkyria's choice to wrestle while hurt. Perez boldly declared that no one could take the title away from her until she was called up to the main roster later this month during the WWE draft, and it was then that Valkyria came out. Valkyria demanded a rematch, which led to Tatum Paxley saying she'll challenge instead of the injured Lyra, but the former champion assured her that she's fine. Questioning if Valkyria really is fine, Paxley threw her into the steel steps, revealing she was only around Lyra because she was the champ and had to be dragged away by officials. Amid the chaos, Natalya appeared and demanded a title match that Perez refused to give her, but NXT GM Ava made clear that in this new era, Perez will defend the title against the veteran. This was an interesting segment, and Paxley turning on Valkyria was a bizarre move at this stage, as this came off as another case of NXT breaking up a women's team too soon. Perhaps it'll be better explained down the line, and as for Roxanne, having Natalya as her first challenger is a good sign that WWE wants her to look good after winning the gold. When Simone Johnson signed with WWE, a lot was said about the daughter of The Rock becoming a superstar, but nowadays, her future in the ring remains uncertain. Now working as Ava, the fourth-generation star has not competed since ending her storyline with the Schism, leaving fans to speculate if she'll wrestle again. Speaking to reporters at Stand and Deliver, NXT head Shawn Michaels stated that Ava has been doing a phenomenal job as NXT GM since being awarded the role. Michaels remained optimistic that Ava and he would contemplate a return to the ring when the time is right, suggesting that the 22-year-old has not retired from in-ring action. Michaels commended Ava's development and progress and said the GM role has allowed her to unravel her charisma more dimensionally, an idea Michaels always wanted to experiment with. The Rock's daughter has not retired from competition, but will have to wait for the right idea from creative to justify the NXT GM getting back in the ring, with no word on when that'll be. Nevertheless, HBK is quite confident with the work Ava has done so far, and she could have a huge role in the upcoming draft following her appearance on Monday Night Raw. It was on the show that the draft was confirmed for the April 26th SmackDown and April 29th Raw, and Ava was in a backstage segment with SmackDown's Nick Aldis and Raw's Adam Pearce. In storyline, Ava will look to put forward superstars from her brand to send to the main roster, and despite what some may believe, Ava's time in the ring is not over yet. In the title match Ava set up, Natalya was on a mission to win her first singles title in close to 7 years, and showed her usual savvy self with a series of submissions and counters. The boat even had counters for Perez's crossface and pop rocks, and it was only thanks to getting to the ropes that the champ was able to break free of the sharpshooter. Out of nowhere, Lola Vice appeared and exacted her own payback on Natalya, allowing Perez to retain her title, and despite the loss, the veteran continues to acclimatize well to her NXT run. Now, Vince McMahon's resignation marked a pivotal moment in WWE's history, with Triple H and Nick Khan taking charge with the 78-year-old billionaire gone. Now WWE is a part of TKO, and on the WrestleMania 40 press conference, Triple H revealed why TKO Group Holdings was formed and launched in September 2023. He said, "I'm loving what I do. That's the biggest thing for me. When TKO went down and Ari Emanuel talked to me about this, I said, I just want to have fun. If it's fun, I'll stay. If it's not, we'll figure out something for us. We're having fun. I want everyone to have fun. When the signature was playing, I picked up the headset and said, biggest thing we want to remember tonight, everybody, have fun. Enjoy this. If this is fun, everybody loves it. If we have fun making it, you're going to enjoy watching it. That's what I believe." Triple H is certainly having fun and has been appreciated for his efforts, with Stephanie McMahon calling WrestleMania the dawn of the Paul Levesque era during the Sunday show. Between new champions, production changes, and much more, this certainly feels like a new WWE, and the game is ready to do the work and have a blast doing it in the process. WrestleMania 40 went off the air with Cody Rhodes standing tall as the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion after overcoming everything that the Bloodline had to throw at him. For Rhodes, winning last Saturday marks the end of a 2-year odyssey since returning to WWE in 2022, but Cody has had an idea of what was to come for much longer than that. In 2013, The Rock returned to WWE and won the WWE title from CM Punk, but what fans may not remember is that he and Cody, a mid-carder back then, had a segment predicting the future. The segment saw Rock retire the spinner version of the WWE title, only to be interrupted by Rhodes, much like how the final boss did on the Raw after WrestleMania. In the segment, Rhodes said that in a decade from then, the WWE title would not be synonymous with The Rock, but himself, and while he may have been a year out, that came true. Rhodes predicted the future, and a decade later, he transformed the WWE into his kingdom. But with The Rock vowing to return on Raw, this is where the work really begins for the champion. Not only did Rhodes win the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, but the American Nightmare also broke a personal record in Lincoln Financial Field last week. Fightful Select reported that Cody Rhodes surpassed his performance from WrestleMania 39 during WrestleMania 40 weekend when it comes to merchandise sales. An internal WWE memo circulated among several members of the company revealed that Rhodes generated over $1 million in merch sales through WWE World and WWE Shop. This is another feather in the cap of Rhodes, who is riding high right now, and another reminder to WWE that they've put their faith in the right person to lead this new era of content. At WrestleMania 40, Damage Control lost to the Dream Team of Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi in a relatively predictable result, but this match left one WWE Hall of Famer furious. On Busted Open Radio, Mark Henry was outraged by Kairi Sane, who took a second or two longer than her allies when exiting the ring during the entrance of the face team. Henry said that he was so mad and argued that Kairi Sane had disrespected the wrestling business and that she would have acted differently had he been in the ring. As we said, Sane took maybe a second longer in the ring than the rest of Damage Control, and many fans have said that Henry is making too big a deal out of something rather trivial. On Twitter, Dakota Kai didn't mention Henry by name, but said that she loves and respects Sane and that the women's tag champion loves and respects the wrestling business. This sparked a response from Sane, who was appreciative of her friend's kind words, and on the latest Busted Open Radio, Henry doubled down on his previous comments. Henry hit out at "these Gen Z people" and suggested that he was in the right with his claim Sane disrespected the business by telling his critics, "You're a fan, you're not a Hall of Famer." We can only imagine how outraged Mark would be at 2006 Mark Henry, who remained in the ring during The Undertaker's entrance at WrestleMania 22 ahead of their casket match at the event. Henry isn't backing down from his stance, but many feel he's made a mountain out of a molehill. And whose side are you on in all this? Let us know in the comments below. Back to NXT, as in a backstage segment, Damon Kemp, Miles Bourne, and Charlie Dempsey were seen discussing their plans, but one topic of conversation certainly raised eyebrows. In the segment, Dempsey made reference to his time competing at GCW's Bloodsport X over WrestleMania weekend, and spoke about the show having some of the toughest fighters. It was certainly a surprise for Bloodsport to be mentioned on WWE programming, as it's clear that this new era is doing away with a lot of the rules of the previous regime. After this segment, the No Quarter Catch crew came up short against the Family, as Kemp and Bourne lost to Stax and Luca Crucifino. Fans who watched the match, though, will have noticed that Drew Gulak was not with his allies, likely due to the recent allegations from Ronda Rousey. Rousey recently claimed that Gulak pulled at the drawstring of her sweatpants in 2022 in an inappropriate move, while Gulak said he accidentally grabbed the string and apologized. Gulak's name was also removed from the Titantron for the No Quarter Catch crew, as his fate in WWE remains unclear at this time. Now, fans burst with excitement as the Shield's entrance theme blared during the main event of WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia this past weekend. For one brief moment, many believed that Jon Moxley would join Seth Rollins in distracting Roman Reigns so that Cody Rhodes could gain the advantage in the match. While Seth Rollins did show up in his classic Shield attire, Moxley was nowhere to be seen, and it seems there were never any plans for him to be. In a recent interview with Comic Book, Tony Khan confirmed that WWE never reached out to All Elite Wrestling in an attempt to bring Moxley in for the event. It's unclear whether Khan would have agreed to such a request, as he has allowed the likes of Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho, and Billy Gunn to show up on WWE TV in the past. In any case, it would have been an impressive feat for Moxley, as he had wrestled in Japan the night before at NJPW Sakura Genesis 2024. More from WrestleMania, as the Sunday portion of the show saw the returns of Stephanie McMahon and John Cena, and the pair were able to reconnect at the show in Philly. As seen by footage making rounds online, John Cena embraces Stephanie McMahon after the main event at WrestleMania 40 Sunday and told her welcome home. At the post-WrestleMania 40 Sunday press conference, Triple H also spoke about his wife being home, and while she's not back under an official role, that seems inevitable in due time. On Raw, a video promo aired teasing the return of Sheamus, who's been out of action since August, and fans won't have to wait long to see the former WWE champion back. Fightful Select was told that Sheamus may return during the week of the upcoming draft, which is scheduled for April 26th and the 29th, and it remains to be seen which brand he calls home. This year, AEW and New Japan will come together to host their third annual Forbidden Door show, and this year's show will be even bigger than before. While speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer reported that talent from Stardom and CMLL will be on the show, which is set to air this June. AEW and Stardom have grown closer as of late, with Tony Khan's tweets mocking Rossy Ogawa following his termination from Stardom showing where the AEW president's loyalties lie. Forbidden Door 3 will be a big show in terms of its roster, but the show will not be taking place at the location Tony Khan initially had planned. On the Beyond the Bell podcast, Andrew Zarian revealed that the show will not take place at Arthur Ashe Stadium as planned, but that is not inherently a bad thing. There is speculation that the involvement of numerous CMLL talents may prompt AEW to choose a venue closer to Mexico for a larger fan turnout, but this was not confirmed by Zarian. Whatever the reason may be, fans will hopefully find out soon where the show will take place, as Arthur Ashe Stadium is off the table for Forbidden Door 3. At NXT Stand and Deliver, Giulia appeared in the crowd, and between this and several reports of WWE interest, fans at the time believed that a deal had been reached between the two sides. According to Fightful's Corey Brennan, Giulia has indeed agreed to join WWE, but will fulfill her remaining dates, including sometime in Rossy Ogawa's upcoming promotion. The decision reportedly came after WWE offered a more lucrative deal compared to AEW, with WWE showing greater interest in Giulia, who opted not to enlist an agent during her free agency. Sources also indicate that William Regal played a pivotal role in negotiations between WWE and Giulia, with Rossy Ogawa's involvement also being significant in securing her services. As for Giulia's potential debut, it's believed she could begin with NXT at any moment, especially as she has remained in the US while Ogawa returned to Japan alone on Tuesday. It certainly appears that Giulia is ready to start her WWE journey, and as for Stand and Deliver, sources revealed that she was swiftly escorted to her seat under a cloak at the event. Giulia was reportedly taken aback by the overwhelmingly positive reception from the crowd, and she was later spotted at WrestleMania 40 both in the crowd and backstage. A former New Japan Strong Women's Champion, she was seen wearing credentials labeled Performer, hinting at her involvement in WWE's future endeavors. Big things are expected from Giulia in WWE, and hers is the latest high-profile signing to the roster behind Jade Cargill. And what do you make of Giulia's signing? Let us know down below. On this week's NXT, Trick Williams gave Carmelo Hayes his proverbial flowers before turning his attention to Ilja Dragunov and challenged him to a rematch for the NXT Championship. The Mad Dragon agreed if Trick put his NXT career on the line, and after the two agreed to the terms, Hayes laid out both men and announced he'll face Trick next week in a steel cage. WWE is putting all the chips on the table with Trick, who continues to have the spotlight as he will fight Melo again next week, followed by a battle with Dragunov at Spring Breakin'. All signs point to him winning it all, though Trick's NXT career on the line could give some pause, as perhaps WWE is ready to push Trick straight into the main roster title scene. The next 2 weeks will reshape the future of NXT's main event scene, and hopefully it ends with Trick at the top of the world, whether as NXT champ or heading to the main roster. In recent weeks, the topic of Matt Hardy's AEW contract had been discussed, as it was known that his deal was coming to an end. Matt had previously spoke about feeling unhappy with the creative direction of the Hardys in AEW, and now his 4-year run with the company has come to an end. Fightful Select has confirmed that Matt is a free agent and that he chose not to re-sign the new contract presented to him and instead let his deal expire. Despite his departure from AEW, Matt Hardy has made it clear that he is not retiring from active wrestling anytime soon, and there have been speculation about a WWE return. Matt was recently spotted at a Raw in Raleigh, North Carolina, and while he intended for his and Jeff's contracts to expire at the same time, his brother's deal had time added due to a hiatus. As for Matt Hardy, it remains to be seen where's next for him, but don't expect to see the Hardy Boys in the ring together for the foreseeable future. In women's tag action on WWE NXT, Kiana James and Izzi Dame defeated Fallon Henley and Kelani Jordan, and even in defeat, Henley stood out more than anybody else in this match. In his WWE NXT TV debut, Javon Evans lived up to his promise that he is bouncy, as he got a big win over another high flyer in Scrypts. The 19-year-old was a complete spot fest, and Scrypts was able to keep up with Evans, who has a massive ceiling for success going forward. Jaida Parker had to dig deep for her match with Brinley Reese, but managed to get the win, and it's clear that Parker is on track to more serious rivalries soon, especially with OTM's backup. Ahead of the NXT Tag Team title match, Nathan Frazier and Axiom announced that they'd stop teaming if they lost to the War Dogs, adding another edge to the match. After an epic main event between NXT's two best teams, it was the Supersonic duo who emerged victorious, winning the tag titles and keeping their team alive. Was there a reason that the title change needed to happen 3 days after Stand and Deliver? Probably not, but it certainly made this bout and the aftermath feel electric. And we are ending with NXT today, as the new champs may be the best team in all of WWE today, but their win was short-lived, as after the match, the Final Testament laid them out. Akam and Rezar stood tall holding the NXT tag team titles, making clear their intentions now that they, alongside Paul Ellering, Karrion Kross, and Scarlett, are back in NXT. Final Testament needed a reset, and NXT will make the group feel larger than life for a little while, though it's interesting NXT went away from Gallows and Anderson in the role as main roster title challengers. Breaker and Corbin make each other better, and they should get the SmackDown or Raw call-up together, but with the titles off them, that is far from a certainty.